this moment in hockey history. The Nashville Predators currently find themselves in fourth place in the Central Division after 45 games skated this season. They have a record of 25-19-1. 51 points has them 6 points out of the automatic third place qualifying playoff spot and 11 points out of first place in the Central Division. 6 points ahead of their next opponent, which is inside the Central Division. The Arizona Coyotes will update the entirety of the Central Division here in just a matter of seconds. The Preds' next game takes place on the road where they have a record of 12-8-1. The Preds scored 141 goals in the season. They've given up 139. They have a goal differential of +2. Easy to see there. The updated Central Division standings, the Winnipeg Jets are still occupying first place after a red-hot December and January. A record of 29-10-4, 62 points, has them 1 point clear of the second-place Colorado Avalanche. The Avalanche have a record of 29-14-3 and have 61 points. The Dallas Stars have 57 points, 26 wins on the season. Then they find the Nashville Predators 6 points behind Dallas, occupying a wild card spot currently in the playoff race with 51 points. Now, the Preds have found themselves in a unique spot at this moment in time. 6 points behind the Dallas Stars for third, 6 points ahead of the Arizona Coyotes for fifth place. So we find the Arizona Coyotes in fifth place with a record of 21-19-3. They have 45 points on the season. Their home record is 13-9-0. They've scored 129 goals in the season, given up 128. They have a goal differential of +1. So the Nashville Predators, the Arizona Coyotes, are easily two of the more unique stories of the Western Conference race so far this season, both of them fighting out for a wild card spot currently amongst the now red-hot number of teams in the Pacific divisions, including Calgary, including Edmonton, and it actually goes on beyond that. You'll find the St. Louis Blues in 6th place at 44 points. You'll find the Minnesota Wild in 7th place in Central Division at 41 points. Chicago Blackhawks are in 8th and last place in Central Division with 28 points on the season. Once the Preds finish up this third game of their road trip, they will return home on Monday to face off against the Florida Panthers. And then on Thursday, immediately back on the road to begin another 3-game road trip. That will be in Minnesota on the 27th. The Preds will be in Edmonton on the 29th of January. The Predators will be at Ottawa, and then they will close out the month of January. Already talking about closing out the month of January on home ice on the 31st versus the LA Kings. Now, the season series between the Nashville Predators and the Arizona Coyotes, they played one of their 4 regular season in-division meetings so far this year. That took place on November the 11th, and it was a wild one. The Arizona Coyotes secured the victory at Bridgestone Arena 7-5. UC Soros took the loss. What an awful stat line it was, 18 out of 24. Philip Forsberg did have 2 goals and assists for 3 points in that game. O'Reilly, Sherwood, and Fabro scored goals for the Predators, but it was the comeback of the Arizona Coyotes and the relentless offense that led to them scoring 7 goals. Connor Ingram got the victory in that game, 37 out of 42, picked up the win. A stat line that doesn't typically get you a victory, but it did at Bridgestone Arena on that night. Carcone had 2 goals in part of the comeback. Bukestad, Keller, Kerfoot, Dursey, and Stetcher, all with goals also for the Arizona Coyotes. One of the Nashville Predators' least impressive games of the season back on November the 11th. Now, they'll meet 2 more times after this meeting. On February the 10th, Arizona will be back in Nashville to face off against the Preds at Bridgestone Arena. And then on March the 28th, the Preds will make their second and final trip of the season out to Arizona to wrap up the regular season series. Every single one of the points remaining between the 6 points left between these 2 teams are critically important, especially with the emergence of the red-hot teams in the Pacific Division. It doesn't look like it's going to be an easy path for 5 teams from the Central anymore. And we couldn't say that a couple weeks ago. The Central Division was dominating for a while there. Now let's talk about this Arizona Coyotes team. Their most recent stretch of action, let's go back to January the 9th. It was a 4-3 overtime win versus the Boston Bruins on the 11th of January. 6-2 loss versus the Calgary Flames on the 13th of January. A 6-0 win at the Minnesota Wild on the 16th of January. 3-2 overtime loss at the Calgary Flames. And most recently on the 18th of January, a 2-1 loss at the Vancouver Canucks. Now the Nashville Predators and the Arizona Coyotes. This is how they match up amongst the league leaders and rankings for each of these teams. The Arizona Coyotes are only generating 2.95 goals per game. That is 22nd in the NHL. The Preds are at 3.09 per game. That's 18th in the NHL. But the Arizona Coyotes are only giving up 2.98 goals against per game. That's 13th best in the National Hockey League. While the Preds are giving up 3.09 per game. That's 16th best. So the Preds scoring 3.09, giving up 3.09. That is a very, very, very slim, narrow margin of error for the Nashville Predators right there. That is one of the reasons for the Jekyll and Hyde up and down nature of this team as of late. In the shots for category, the Arizona Coyotes are only putting 27.2 shots on net per game. That's 38th 30th in the league, while the Preds are generating 30.8 on net per game. That's 16th in shots against. Arizona gives up 31.3 per game. That's 23rd overall, while the Preds give up 30.3. That is 15th. In the special teams area, the Arizona Coyotes have a decided advantage on the power play, converting at 23.1% of the season. That's 10th overall in the National Hockey League, 31 out of 134 opportunities. The Nashville Predators are converting at 20.8%. That's 18th in the NHL, 32 out of 154. On the penalty kill, Arizona also ahead in this particular statistical metric. A kill rate of 79% is 20th overall in the NHL, and they've given up just 29 power play goals against. I say just 29 because, well, it's a few lower than the Nashville Predators, and it seems like the Preds have given up an awful lot. Their kill rate is 77.7%. The Preds are 24th overall in the league, and they've given up 33 power play goals against, 4 more than the Arizona Coyotes. Now, the statistics for each individual team and roster. Let's talk about the visiting Predators. First, Philip Forsberg continues to lead the Nashville Predators in scoring on the season. 22 goals, paces the team, 26 assists, 48 points overall. O'Reilly has 17 goals and 23 assists for 40 points now on the season. The second Predator cross over the 40-point mark. The captain, Roman Josi, has 8 goals and 30 assists for 38 points on the season. Nyquist is at 12 and 23 for 35, and Colton Sissons 12 goals and 10 assists for 22 points. On the Arizona Coyotes, the home team in this game, their side of the ledger, their top scorers, Keller, who typically does quite well against the Nashville Predators, 17 goals, 22 assists for 39 points. Michelli, 7 and 22 for 29. Schmaltz, 13 and 15 for 28. Krause, 17 goals and 10 assists for 27 points. Logan Krause usually has quite good games against the Nashville Predators. Bukestad's already scored against the Preds this year, 9 goals and 17 assists for 26 points on the season. The anticipated goaltending matchup sees a rematch from the 11-11 matchup. UC Saros with a record of 18-16 and 1, a 903 save percentage, 2.96 goals against average, and 2 shutouts going up against his former teammate Connor Ingram. 15-9 and 1, a 918 save percentage, a 2.51 goals against average, and 5 shutouts on the season. Connor Ingram is having an impressive season for the Arizona Coyotes. A better season for the Coyotes than UC Saros is having for the Nashville Predators. So it's going to come down to those two head-to-head, and this is a pivotal, what we call a 4-point matchup within the Central Division. The Nashville Predators will either leave Arizona with an 8-point lead on the division, on the Arizona Coyotes, or only a 4-point lead on the Arizona Coyotes. So this is a big 2 points, especially with the way the Preds dropped that game on a home ice back in November. That's got you all set up for the afternoon start. Make sure you check out that special start time between the Preds and the Arizona Coyotes, wrapping up the road trip for the Preds. Come on back home to face off the Florida Panthers on Monday. All right, let's get to the Reverse Sports full game recap. We got to go back to Los Angeles. It was a late night against the Kings, and UC Saros was ready to dial in. It's the Reverse Sports full game recap. It's coming up next on the Renegades of Puck podcast.